What follows is in the old man's diary voice, first person, intimate, emotional, sometimes broken, like he's writing at night by lamplight. Diary. Entry 1, The Empty Cage, March 3rd. It has been 7 nights since Jasper left me. 7 nights of silence. I never realized how much sound a bird could carry into a house until it was gone. Jasper filled the rooms with chatter, whistles, and those little mischiefs that made the walls feel alive. Now, the cage by the window only swings when the wind presses through the cracks. It creaks like old bones, and each time it does, I feel my own ribs ache. Martha gave him to me on our 40th anniversary. She had wrapped the cage in ribbons, laughing as Jasper squawked inside. He was just a young parrot then, green feathers shining like polished leaves. "You'll never be lonely when I'm gone," Martha had whispered in my ear that night. I thought it was just a playful line. I didn't realize she was giving me a piece of her voice. Because Jasper learned her tone so perfectly. The way he said "Babu" was the same way Martha said it. Soft teasing, full of love. I remember our morning Jasper nibbling on a cracker while I stirred my weak tea. I'd grumble about the aches in my knees, and he'd mimic my groans so precisely that I couldn't help but laugh. "You're old fool," I'd mutter at him, and he'd repeat, "Old fool," like a proud insult. He was more than a bird, he was my echo, my last family. And then, just like Martha, he slipped away while I wasn't ready. It was a cold morning. He was perched quietly, eyes half closed. I thought he was napping. But when I opened the cage, his tiny chest no longer moved. His claws were stiff around the bar. I buried him under the oak tree Martha loved. The soil was still frozen. It took me hours with my shaky hands. I pressed the earth down gently, as if tucking him into bed. That night, I stared at the empty cage, and for the first time in years, I prayed. Diary entry 2, Whispers in the Night. March 8th. The first time I heard it, I thought it was my mind playing cruel tricks. I dozed off in the armchair, my blanket slipping to the floor. At some point, a sound stirred me awake, soft, familiar, a single word. "Babu." I froze. My chest tightened. The room was dark except for the faint orange glow of the street lamp outside. My eyes went straight to the cage by the window, empty, still. "Jasper?" I whispered. My voice cracked like old wood. Nothing, just the ticking of the clock and the faint hum of wind. I laughed at myself, though it came out shaky. Old men hear things, don't they? Ghosts of memory. But the second time, 3 nights later, it wasn't just a whisper. It was a warning. "Don't open it, Babu." The words were sharp, urgent, in Jasper's exact tone. The same voice he used when I'd left the back door ajar and Martha would scold me. My skin got cold. I scanned the room. The cage was swaying ever so slightly, though the air was still. I told myself it was the draft, but when I reached the cage, the metal was warm, as if touched. I didn't sleep that night. I kept listening, waiting. Sometimes I thought I heard his wings fluttering, though I knew they were buried deep in the soil outside. Am I losing my mind? Or has Martha's gift lived on in ways I cannot understand? Diary entry 3, The Knock at Midnight, March 15th. I must write this down before my memory betrays me. Last night the knocking came. 3 raps at the front door, firm, heavy, at midnight. I shuffled to the door with my cane, my heart hammering. The porch was empty. The night air smelled of damp earth, the oak tree looming like a shadow. As I turned back, the cage behind me creaked loudly. And then, his voice, clearer than ever. "Don't open it, Babu." The words rushed through me like ice water. Jasper's voice, protective, insistent. I dropped into the chair, trembling. Was something outside my door? Something Jasper wanted to keep me safe from? All night, I sat awake, clutching Martha's old shawl. And every so often, faintly, I heard Jasper murmuring from the shadows. Good boy, Babu." The way Martha once soothed me after nightmares. It struck me then. Jasper wasn't haunting me. He was guarding me. The little bird that once mimicked my laughter was now shielding me from something I couldn't see. This morning, I found the oak tree disturbed. The soil where I buried Jasper was unsettled, as though something had clawed at it. My hands shook too hard to dig, so I left it. But I know what I felt, and I know what I heard. Diary Entry 4. The Last Goodnight March. 21st. My body grows weaker each day. I feel it in my bones, in the way my breath rattles at night. Perhaps Jasper knows it too. Perhaps that is why he came back. Tonight, as the rain rushed against the windows, I lit the last candle on the table. The cage swayed gently, though the air was still. Then I heard it, not faint, not broken, clear, loving. Good night, Babu. I closed my eyes. Tears spilled down my face. My chest heaved with relief and grief tangled together. For a moment, I swear I felt feathers brush my cheek, warm and soft. I whispered back, "Good night, Jasper. Good night, my boy." And then, silence. But it wasn't empty. It was peace. If these words are ever read, know this: love does not die. It changes shape. Sometimes it echoes in feathers. Sometimes it lingers in a voice only you can hear. I am not afraid anymore, because I am not alone. It's 2 months later, the house was sold. The new family never knew the old man, only that he had passed peacefully in his chair. His belongings were cleared, though the cage by the window remained. No one could bring themselves to throw it out. It seemed harmless, quaint, almost decorative. One evening, the family's youngest daughter, barely 6, wandered into the room. She pressed her fingers to the cool metal bars of the empty cage and giggled. That night, as she was tucked into bed, her parents heard her whispering. "Who are you talking to, sweetie?" her mother asked. "The bird," the girl said, smiling sleepily. "He says good night." The parents exchanged uneasy glances but brushed it off as imagination. Later, when the house fell silent, the little girl stirred in her sleep. A faint voice brushed the air, gentle, affectionate, almost like a lullaby. "Good night, Babu." Some say grief drives the mind to madness. Others believe love finds a way to linger, through walls, through cages, through voices carried on the air. So, I'll ask you this. When you hear a whisper in the dark, is it just memory playing tricks? Or is it someone who refuses to leave you behind?